Hello, in this video we are going to show how PPINOT Computer and ppinot4py work. They both are two libraries designed to compute process performance indicators from an event log. Since they both are two libraries, they don't have a user interface, we are going to show their functionality using ppinot4py in a Google Colab notebook. I have already created such a notebook. You can have it here. I have uploaded the event log that we're going to use as an example. It's a road traffic file management process log. It's publicly available. And the first step is to install ppinot4py, which is a well-known process mining library, and ppinot4py. After that, we import the modules and read the event log using ppinot4py. We also need to convert the event log to a data frame, which looks like this. We have the attributes as columns and rows as events. The event log has these activities like create fine, send fine, or appeal to judge. So based on this background, we're going to define several PPIs. The first one is the time from create fine to send fine. To this end, we define a time measure whose from condition is the execution of activity create fine, and to condition is the execution of activity send fine. If we compute this PPI we have just defined using the log we've just loaded, we get the time from create fine to send fine for each case of the log. There are 150,000 cases in this log. However, in many cases we are interested in an aggregation of these values. To this end, we can define an aggregated measure specifying which metric we are aggregating and the aggregation function, which in this case is the average. We define this metric and compute the value. We get as a result 87 days. If we want to compute the aggregation grouping by different periods of time, we can use the time group parameter specifying the frequency of grouping. In this case, it's 6 months, and the result is the average time grouped by each 6 months. The second measure we're going to define is the average number of cases in which the activity appeal to judge is executed. To this end, we first define a count measure that counts the number of time appeal to judge is executed in each case. And then we use this measure in a derived measure that evaluates whether this number is equal or greater than 1. We define these metrics, and like before, we do the aggregation. It's an average. And the result, the average number of cases in which appeal to judge is executed, is 0.0037 cases. One interesting thing of ppinot4py is that we can reuse metrics in different contexts. So for instance, we can use the has appeal metric as part of the aggregated measure of the time create to send fine we used before as a grouper. And if we compute that, we get the average time grouped not only by each 6 months, but also by the value of has appeal. If you want to know more details about these two libraries, please check these URLs. Thank you very much.